We certainly did learn a lot from The Witcher, so I think that we developed ourselves as well. It's not like we told ourselves we are taking a different approach. We still want to tell a mature story for an older audience. We are not shying away from telling how we think the story would play out in the universe of Cyberpunk, which Mike Pondsmith created, which is a very unique universe, but also it's a dangerous one. It's a violent one, and we are struggling as a player in it to find ourselves through it. And this is very similar to the story we were telling and the world that we were having in The Witcher. I mean, Geralt also had his fair share of problems, and so does V. In The Witcher 1 and 2, we learned to tell stories in video games. In the third installment, we provided the player this open world layer. Like, we provided this additional layer of freedom, so you had this branching story. As you said, we are not doing a singular story. And we gave the player the opportunity to freely move around the world, to do quests in their own order, to do some side quest activities and other things in the world. This we are taking with us to Cyberpunk, and in Cyberpunk we are adding additionally a layer, an open gameplay layer. In The Witcher we had Geralt, he had his two swords. He could have had an axe, but in Cyberpunk the player is basically telling us, the game, how he wants to play, who he wants to play. So starting with this character customization we just mentioned, by picking his equipment, he can fight with a gun, he can fight with a katana, he can fight with his bare fists if he wants to. He can try not to kill anybody, so essentially he wouldn't even need a gun at any point in the game at all. It was very challenging, but luckily we were always aware of this, that this is completely different, so we knew that we might struggle in the beginning, but that we have to keep on pressing forward while searching for the answers that are needed in order to provide this kind of gameplay experience that we envisioned for Cyberpunk. Even back on The Witcher with Gwent, it wasn't like at one day we sat down and said we need to have a video game in a video game. It just so happened that we had this idea, we thought about it, we experimented with it, we found it very fitting to the game, and that's why we implemented. In Cyberpunk, again, we are not pushing to have a minigame just to have a minigame in the game. We will not force it in. We will do it in the same way. We are looking into many different opportunities. If we find to have found a suiting one for the universe and to the gameplay experience, you might expect it. But if not, then we will not force it into it. As in real life, relationships, love, and also sex are very important and major part in everyday people's lives. We want to make our games feel like sticking to reality as close as possible in the given franchise, regardless if it's fantasy with magic or a vision of the future with cyberware implants. Certainly you can expect to have opportunities to form relationships, some more shallow and more deeper ones in Cyberpunk as well. I think that our dedicated fans that like The Witcher will find the same standard of quality. Thank you very much.